Hello students, today we are going to study about infertility. So when we define infertility, uh, it will be failure to achieve birth over a period of 12 months of unprotected intercourse, unprotected sex, or when couples are not using any contraceptive means. So that will be the definition of infertility. Inability to of a sexually active non-contracepting couple to achieve pregnancy in 1 year. So duration have to be 1 year or 12 months, right? So this is the definition of infertility. So uh, there is mainly 20% defect in male, 40 to 50% in female, and 30% in both. So what are the causes of infertility in male? It is low sperm count, it is less than 10 million sperm per ml of semen, normal count being 35 million sperm per ml of semen. Sometimes there is no sperm, that is aspermia, absence of sperm means semen. So what are the causes of infertility in men? Low sperm mobility, yeah, motility. Sperms are immotile, they cannot swim. Reason might be anything. Abnormal sperms, they can be of unusual shape, more difficult to move and fertilize the egg. The causes can be infection in testis or cancerous tumor disease in testis, or when one undergo testicular surgery for any reason, like for hydrocele, for different type of scrotal testicular disease. So that can affect the testis of male and can have undesirable effect on the sperm, either its shape, size, ability to swim. So these are the causes of infertility in men. Other causes can be hypogonadism. When you have a testosterone deficiency, your testis will develop in a very slow manner, and secondary sexual character, testosterone, secondary sexual character will not be developed or develop very slowly. So all these are constitutionally due to the hypogonadism. So that can be a cause for male infertility. Genetic abnormality, may they have a genetic abnormalities that we have already discussed in determination and sex determination. If they have a genetic abnormality, the gonads are also disturbed, and hence the fertility. Mumps, a testicular inflammation. So when you have a mumps one time in a lifetime, so there will be antibody formation and all. But if suppose the same type of virus attacks you in your, you know, adulthood, so that can lead, the main organ that will be affected is the testis, and we call it orchitis. So orchitis is the inflammatory disease of the testis, and due to the mump virus. Hypospadias, that means the urethra will be open under the penile shaft. It will not be at a tip. Chlamydia infection. So chlamydia are the organisms that can cause urinary tract infections and can cause testicular deficit or underdevelopment. Ejaculation disorder, that is retrograde ejaculation. So retrograde ejaculation means when during ejaculation, during sexual intercourse, during ejaculation, the pathway from the testis to the vas deferens to the seminal vesicle to the you know urethra, if that goes retrograde pathway, that means the sperm will not be ejaculating out into the female part, but it will be pouring into the bladder, urinary bladder of the male. So the pathway will be reversed. That can cause, uh, infertility. Varicocele are the varicose vein. The veins are dilated in the scrotum. That is a very painful condition. Varicocele. Undescended testis. Due to many hormonal deficiency, like testosterone, the abdominal testis will not descend through the inguinal canal, and that is that will be a, can cause infertility due to in men. Overheating of testicles, suppose due to any reason, if there is a overheating, because the testis resides, or survives, I mean not testis, if it is seminiferous tubules where the spermatogenesis occurs. All the sperm survives in a temperature less than that of body temperature, and so the nature has made the scrotum so that the testis is far away from the abdomen, and hence at a lower temperature than the body. So if there is a overheating of the testicles due to any reason, that can also cause, like the men working in furnaces industry, that can be a cause for the infertility. Now, what are the causes of infertility in women? Ovulation disorder. So there can be many ovulation disorder, like ovarian cyst, like PCOD, PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. All these are ovarian disorder. There are many type of ovarian disorder. Premature ovarian failure before the age of 40. If there is a ovarian failure, the functioning of ovary is disturbed. That can lead to infertility in women. Polycystic ovarian syndrome, hyperprolactinemia in non-pregnant state. It is in the pregnant state that the prolactin is increased, but if there is a hyperprolactinemia, that can lead to infertility. Poor egg quality, that can be reason for infertility in women. Now, causes of infertility in women: defect in uterus and fallopian tube. If due to any surgery that a female is undergoing, and mainly the surgery involving the uterus and fallopian tube, that can be a reason. Submucosal fibroids. In uterus, you have outer interstitium, middle part is endometrium, and the inner part is submucosal. So if in submucosal region of uterus, if there are fibroids formation, they are a solid, solid structure that can form in submucosal region of the uterus, that can lead to heavy bleeding in women, and that can be a cause for infertility in women. Endometriosis. Endometriosis, again, it is a disease of endometrium, mainly involving the epithelium. And previous sterilization treatment, uh, any sterilization treatment like DNB, uh, like in pregnancy, if there is a failure of contraception, mainly the female goes to the doctor for some sterilization treatment, either ring, either pessaries, okay, and different type of treatment like vaginal douching. So all these techniques can, if it affects the uterus or uterine wall, it can be a cause for infertility in women. Now, cause for infertility in women, if we talk about drugs, it can be NSAIDs, excess of aspirin and ibuprofen. If a patient is suffering from cancer, and if you are giving radiotherapy, chemotherapy, that can also lead to infertility. Some illegal drugs, mainly the drugs which are habit forming, they can also cause infertility. Now, there are two types of infertility. One is primary, one is secondary. The primary, when a woman is unable to ever bear a child, means they can never bear a child. That is a primary infertility. Secondary, when a woman has been pregnant but failure to achieve live birth after having a live birth previously. So, if there is a previous history of a normal or live birth of a child, and in a second time or third time pregnancy she cannot bear a child, even if she is pregnant, so that will be called as secondary infertility. But primary infertility, she can never even become pregnant. That is a primary infertility. In men, we can diagnose this condition by semen analysis, whether the mobility, whether the structure of the sperm, mobility of the sperm, quality of the sperm, all these things matters in men. So we do semen analysis. In women, we can go for laparoscopy after opening the opening the abdomen, lower abdomen. We can watch the uterus or any type of pathology in uh, ovary, uterine tube or uterus, or we can go for ultrasonography, USG abdomen, so that we can detect the some abnormal features. What are the treatment in males and females? So, if you talk about the males, blockage of the ejaculatory duct. If there is a blockage of the ejaculatory duct, so you can see in the figure, that is known as obstructive agiospermia. So agiospermia means less sperm is due to what? Due to obstruction. And where is this obstruction? In the ejaculatory duct. So if that is so, we can take out the sperm from the testis directly and inject into an egg in lab. So we can take out the egg from the female, we can take out the sperm from the testis, and we can just inject the sperm into the egg, and then we can again put the egg into the developing egg into the fallopian tube. Okay. So surgery for epididymal blockage. Suppose the epididymis is blocked. Okay, so we can do surgery. A bypass of the blockage, where the blockage is there, we can bypass the structure. A bypass surgery called as vasoepidymostomy. The vast difference is reconnected to the epididymis by bypassing the blocked area. That is known as the vasoepidymostomy, right? If there is a problem of retrograde ejaculation, so like sperm is going to the bladder, so sperm can be taken directly from the bladder and then injected into the egg in lab. So we do have, you can see how the sperms are going to the urinary bladder, right? A premature ejaculation or erectile dysfunction, that means during sexual intercourse the male have erectile he is not able to the erect the penis. That is the erectile dysfunction. Or premature ejaculation means uh, before a successful intercourse there is ejaculation. So that is the premature ejaculation. These are the problem. So what are the treatment options? We have behavioral approach or medications. So there are less medication, mainly this is a psychological problem. So behavioral approaches, giving suggestions, are the main approaches that we do as a physician. uh, Medication are of little help. If there is a varicocele, that means the uh, if the veins are engorged around the testicles, around the scrotum, so for that it can be surgically removed. The varicocele can be surgically removed. Like you can see above the testes, the veins, testicular veins are so much engorged, so we can remove these testicular veins. Okay. When there is a varicocele, you can see how testes look from outside. It is like a bag of worms. The first figure. Now, treatment in female. What options we have? We have bromocriptine. The patient, the females, which have a problem in ovulation, which uh, despite of egg being present, she cannot ovulate. In that case, we can give uh, bromocriptine that will inhibit the production of prolactin and stimulate the ovulation. We can give HCG, human chorionic gonadotropin, given in combination like clomiphene citrate, HMG and FSH. These all are given in combination with the HCG. It stimulates the follicles in the ovary and hence help in ovulation. Clomiphene citrate can be given alone. It also encourages the ovulation. A drug called metformin. A drug called metformin. Mainly it is used in the diabetic cases, but here metformin has also been seen to respond to the patient who do not respond to the clomiphene citrate. So metformin can be given, especially the female who shows the feature of PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, and insulin resistance. For them, metformin can be given. FSH, it controls estrogen production by ovary. It stimulates ovaries to mature egg follicles. Okay, the subcutaneous injection can be given, and it comes under the name like Gonal F, Repronex, Follisystem. So all these are brand name for the FSH, which can be given as a subcutaneous injection. Human menopausal gonadotropin, HMG, genetically engineered product. It is a genetically engineered product which contains both FSH and LH. In case of absent ovulation due to pituitary dysfunction, you can give the pituitary hormone, that is FSH and LH, in the form of HMG. Now, counseling is also important. The It deals the psychological impact of the infertility in terms of intervention, treatment, after effects of both successful and successful treatment. Counseling, when you have to give, it has to involve therapeutic work to help patient cope with the consequence of the infertility and treatment. Why we do counseling? So that we take the informed consent. That means whatever we are going to do, either in the form of, you know uh, medication or some interventional technique, we have to do it by taking consent of the patient, because it is a something which is very important as a physician, as a doctor, that to avoid some legal issues, you have to always take a patient consent, and to offer coping strategy to the couples to facilitate decision making. So you have to consult to the patients so that they can make decision which techniques they should undergo, to offer preparation for the procedure, to help client in achieving a better quality of life, and to provide genetic counseling. What is the advantage of this counseling? It helps to deal with the emotional stress. It provides extra support, allows the client in exploring all the possible options for the family. It helps the couple in overcoming the dilemmas, means confusion, and deciding the right fertility treatment. It explains about the infertility management and a specific treatment. Then we have assisted reproduction technology, that is the ART. What is the aim? Aim is to promote the chances of fertilization. Aim is to subsequent pregnancy by bringing the sperm and egg close to each other. Then we have IVF, that is the in vitro fertilization, IVF technique. So IVF techniques in IVF hospitals are present in many parts. Before it was used to be in metro cities, but now even Patna and Muzaffarpur also there are IVF clinic. It is a process by which egg is fertilized by sperm outside the body. So whatever things that occurs outside, we call it in vitro. Whatever things that occurs inside the body, we call in vivo. So since the fertilization is occurring outside the body, we say it in vitro fertilization. And babies conceived as a result is known as test tube babies. So we have a past history also. The very first in vitro manipulation of eggs or embryos was performed by Walter Heap when he transformed transferred in vivo fertilized eggs from one female rabbit to the another. Then in 1959, Mr. Chang successfully conducted IVF in rabbits. In 1969, okay, we have the journal Nature publishing about the R.G. Edwards, his studies, and 1977, the first IVF pregnancy in human and birth, Louis Brown. So we have different, history uh, that you can see. The first, the world's first test tube arrival is Louis. We called it Super Babe. Okay. If Indian history is concerned, Dr. Subhas Mukhopadhyay, 1931 to 1981, he was a physician from Kolkata who created world's second and India's first child using in vitro fertilization, Durga, who was born 67 days after the first IVF baby in United Kingdom. So after the baby IVF in UK, India was the second in the world to produce this test tube baby named Durga. Now, what are the indications? What are the indication of IVF, in vitro fertilization? So you can very well imagine why we need to take out the eggs from the female. There's something that can not allow the eggs to fertilize, eggs to mobilize, or eggs to implant into the uterus. There is something, and that something will be the pathology. In the first case, tubal disease means the disease in the fallopian tube. In women with blocked fallopian tube, because the fallopian tube is a site for fertilization, if it is blocked, IVF has largely replaced the surgery of treatment, the treatment of choice. Okay. Endometriosis. Now, patient with endometriosis, the disease of endometrium epithelium, involving not only the endometrium but also the fallopian tube, also the ovary. है ना? This is a disease which can have multiple sites. Like endometriosis can occur in ovary also. It can, if I say endometriosis is occurring in ovary, that means the uterus type of lining is being developed into the ovary. Uterus type of lining is being developed into the fallopian tube. So that will be called as endometriosis. In that cases also, uh, you have this IVF technique as a choice for treatment. Ovulatory dysfunction in patients with PCOS and other ovulatory problems, we can have this type of in vitro fertilization. So other indication is age related infertility. In normal reproductive life, woman's ovarian function is diminished with the age, that we all know. And in many cases, this reduced function can be overcome by the IVF. So, in female who are aged, who are working so much, like the film stars, they don't have any time to bear a child, so they are too busy. So in that case, aged women can take help of this IVF techniques to produce, to bear a child. If suppose there are male infertility that cannot be solved, like agiospermia, oligospermia, astheno, oligo means less sperm, agio means no sperm, astheno means the shape of the sperm are abnormal. Anti-sperm antibody if developed, if autoimmune disease where the antibody towards the sperm develop, that can also be a male factor for infertility, and that can be indication for the IVF technique. Pre-implantation genetic testing. Genetic testing on pre-implantation embryo may be indicated for the patient who are at risk of genetic disorders such as cystic fibrosis and thalassemia. So, what is the process that we can do? So, first we have to take the history and total systemic examination, that is called as initial evolution. Whatever test you have to do, that you do, then we have to suppress the natural hormonal cycle, that means the natural menstrual cycle is there, that we have to suppress by the medications. Then we have to give medicine that will stimulate ovaries to produce ovum, like clomiphene citrate. Okay, 3 months clomiphene citrate if we give, like metformin, clomiphene citrate, HCG, all these stimulate ovary to produce ovum. Collection of oocytes. So when an ovary is stimulated, there will be more follicle formation and oocyte formation. Then we take these oocytes outside the body in the test tube. We also collect sperm from the male donor and we do fertilization. And when embryo is formed, a 16 celled embryo, 32 celled embryo, we try to implant it into the uterus. What are the initial evolution that can we do? We can do blood test for knowing in any type of infection or less hemoglobin is there. Seminal fluid examination for male. Hysterosalpingogram. Hysterosalpingogram means it is a uh, a technique that that takes the use of a dye and uh, it's like camera like camera like some instrument that can go inside in the uterus, and that can take the figure of the or the images of the inside of the uterus. Then we can know the different images if there is any pathology regarding fallopian tube, regarding uterus. It also this instrument also pours some dyes that can go into the fallopian tube till the ovary, and we can take the image, and then we can decide the pathology or a blockage anywhere in the pathway for the ovum. Transvaginal ultrasound is a TVS, we say transvaginal sonography we say. So the probe is made to enter into the vagina, and then ultrasound is taken. Now, as I said, the first step was suppression of natural hormonal cycle. How can we do that? We can take the oral contraceptive pill. I mean, the female, she can take OCP each day, starting cycle day 1 or 2 or 3, for approx 2 to 4 weeks. So 2 to 4 weeks at the start of the menses, the female takes OCP for 4 weeks for to suppress the natural hormonal cycle. We have drugs like Lupron, Leuprolide acetate. They are the gonadotropin releasing hormone agonist. It suppresses LH surge, preventing eggs from being released before they are mature for the egg retrieval. Subcutaneous injection every morning. Nafarelin. These are also gonadotropin releasing hormone agonist, and they are taken 3 times a day as a nasal spray. Don't have to remember all this. This is actually, this is just a mm, very good PPT that I have taken it from other sources. They have given drugs also, because it's a medicine PPT actually. So you don't have to remember these all the steps, but overview you have to know. Ganirelix acetate injection or cetrolide, GR, also gonadotropin antagonist. This is hormone antagonist. So you can see sometimes we give antagonist, sometimes we agonist. They are the concept of we have studied the pulsatile release of GnRH, right? Pulsatile release of GnRH. So that is the concept used in this. GnRH antagonistic we can also give, and GnRH agonist we can also give. Now these are the concepts which we will study when we go in pharmacology classes or medicine classes. Now, how to stimulate the ovary? Produces multiple mature follicle rather than a single egg normally developed each month. So normally what happens, a single egg is developed and in menses they are produced, but here when we do ovarian stimulation by drugs, that means a multiple ovum is produced, multiple follicles are produced and multiple ovum are produced, and only good follicle has to be taken outside the body to fertilize. Multiple eggs are stimulated because some eggs will not fertilize or develop normally after the fertilization, so we have to take multiple eggs. Regular monitoring by ultrasound scan is done. Now we now collect the oocyte, many oocytes. The oocytes maturation is performed generally by the injection of HCG, and these are known as trigger shot. These are commonly known as, these HCG hormone are known as trigger shot, and this will cause oocyte maturation. The egg retrieval is performed at a time usually between the 34 to 36 hour after the HCG injection we have given. We can retrieve the egg from the female body. Egg retrieval is usually accomplished by transvaginal ultrasound aspiration. So how we take out the egg? We do the transvaginal ultrasound, and by seeing on the ultrasound screen, we insert the probe, and through the probe, going all the way from the uterus to the fallopian tube to the ovary, we can take out the egg. It is done under the short general anesthesia, and is 20 to 30-minute procedures. So retrieval of the egg is done under the GA. In some circumstances, one or both ovaries may not be accessible by transvaginal ultrasound. Laparoscopy may be done. So when we are not able to retrieve the eggs by ultrasound, we can open the abdomen and then we can retrieve eggs. So for that, we need to place a telescope in the umbilicus, and through the umbilicus we can retrieve the eggs. That was the uh, that that was this concept for retrieval the eggs from the female. If you have to retrieve the eggs sperm from the male, what we do? So shortly before or after the oocyte collection, the male partner will be asked to give a sperm sample, and for that he has to observe a sexual abstinence, means no sexual intercourse, 3 to 4 days before he is able to donate the sperm, and collection about 60 to 90 minutes prior to the fertilization. So when you want to fertilize egg, when you are ready, so 60 to 90 minutes before sperm is collected, liquefied, centrifuged, suspended in a culture medium, and incubation is done for 30 to 60 minutes under 37 degrees centigrade is the body temperature. The most active sperm are located in the surface of the medium. So whatever the active sperm they are taken, they are separated. Sperm may be obtained from the testicles or from the epididymis or from the vas deferens from the male whose semen is void of sperm either due to an obstruction. So if there is epididymal obstruction, vas deferens obstruction, so accordingly we will take the sperm from that site. You can see how from the testicles sperm are aspirated. Fertilization is started by adding 10 to 50,000 motile sperm to about 100 microliter to 1 ml culture medium in which oocyte is being incubated. Okay, so we add 10,000 50,000 motile sperm. Okay, where oocyte is present from the beginning. Intracytoplasmic sperm injection is indicated in case where semen fluid does not contain sperm. When you take out semen from the vas deferens or the epididymis and they do not contain the sperm, so we do this intracytoplasmic sperm injection. Cytoplasmic sperm injection means uh, in the cytoplasm of the what oocytes we give sperm directly into the oocytes. So intrauterine we have many types of this techniques. Intrauterine insemination means if we know that the eggs can come into the uterus and the male partner is not able to deposit sperm into the female body, so we can take the sperm by injection and we can put the sperm into the uterus. That is known as intrauterine insemination. In vitro fertilization means embryo transfer. Intracytoplasmic sperm injection means in cytoplasm of the oocytes we inject sperm. That is ICSA. Gift, gamete intrafallopian transfer. So if we can transfer the sperm into the fallopian tube. Zygote intrafallopian transfer. So the whole zygote we first make it in the lab and then we transfer to the fallopian tube where the normal process can occur. So there are different technique depending upon the disease that occurs. So intrauterine insemination. What are the? This is the first line, and what is the indication? Hostile cervical mucus. If you have, if the female have hostile cervical mucus means if there is less pH, more acidity in the cervical mucus, or if the mucus is so much viscous that it practically blocks the way of the sperm from the vagina towards the uterus. That can be a hostile cervical mucus. Anti-sperm or male fertility problem. If you have low sperm count and premature ejaculation, so that a person cannot intercourse. That can also be a reason of not depositing sperm into the female body. So this can be a indication for this intrauterine insemination. Although tubal patency of the female partner must be assured. So in this, it is very important to first of all assure that your fallopian tube is normal. If fallopian tube patency, if it is not patent, not able to transfer your the eggs into the uterus, then this intrauterine insemination is ineffective, right? IVF, we all know, fertilization occurs outside the body in the lab. What are the indication? If there is a uterine tube occlusion, if fallopian tube is occluded by any means, by tuberculosis, by infections, any means, if there is endometriosis or cervical mucus problem, where male factor are the main problem, these are the indications where IVF or embryo transfer can be done. Intracytoplasmic, as I said, intracytoplasmic sperm injection, the injection of a single sperm into the cytoplasm of what? Egg, with a fine glass needle. You can see a sperm with a fine glass needle into the cytoplasm of egg, and it is useful when sperm quality is very poor and you take one single motile sperm and directly inject into the cytoplasm of the egg. In agiospermic man, sperm can be obtained surgically from the epidermis or by extraction from the testis itself. Intracellular sperm injection, again, a embryologist isolates a sperm cell, draws a tip into the microscopic needle, and he injects it inside the oocytes under a high power microscope. Fertilization check is performed in the next day, and it takes approx 18 hours after the sperm injection or insemination of the eggs. Usually 65-75% of the mature egg will fertilize after this insemination. Now they are cultured in a special incubator to support division and development. If the couple has a history of certain genetic disease and the genes that cause the problem is identified, pre-implantation genetic diagnosis may be done. एम्ब्रायो ट्रांसफ़र मीन्स बना बनाया एम्ब्रायो को हम लोग ट्रांसफ़र कर सकते हैं, और बहुत सारा साइट है ट्रांसफ़र करने का, जैसे फैलोपियन ट्यूब में ट्रांसफ़र कर सकते हैं, यूट्रस में भी ट्रांसफ़र कर सकते हैं एम्ब्रायो को. तो इट इज़ परफॉर्म 2, 3 और 5 days पोस्ट फर्टिलाइजेशन. ठीक है, आफ्टर फर्टिलाइजेशन one or more embryos are suspended in a drop of a culture medium, are drawn into a transfer catheter. The catheter is taken, a long and thin sterile tube with a syringe on one end, and the physician gently guides the tip of the catheter through the cervix. Now this catheter is inserted inside the cervix and places the fluid that contains the embryo in the uterus. This is the embryo transfer. Related to the age and embryo quality. Okay, so it is cycles. If the age is less than 35, we can transfer 2 embryo, or we can try out embryos transfer. If the age is 35-37, we can try out more. So every embryo transfer will not be succeeded. That has to be kept in mind. According to the age, it will be done. We have a variation of IVF like gamete intrafallopian transfer. So we can put the sperm directly into the fallopian tube and not in the uterus. The uterine transfer is a classical one, but we have variation of IVF where we can put the sperm into the fallopian tube. or a zygote formation and then put into the fallopian tube. Laparoscopic technique that offer little clinical advantage over IVF. So it is of no more advantage than IVF. So IVF is mainly, done. It is more popularly done, if I have to say. All others are very complex, um, techniques. So mainly this was the thing. We need to review only the infertility definition, causes of infertility, and what are the different techniques. But mainly we have to concern about the IVF. So it was in the syllabus, it was not in the book actually, these are techniques. So but it was in the syllabus given by the MCI. So ma'am has asked me to prepare a slide, but I had no time to prepare or see the books. So I've taken it from the some other sources, internet sources, but it was very I think good PowerPoint mainly. But you have to focus not on the drugs and all, just you have to know that infertility